Kia ora, this program is brought to you by Wellington Access Radio. Wellington Access Radio, make your voice heard.
Hey, welcome back to the Blackhouse on 106.1 FM with Liya and guests today. We've been away for about 3 weeks, but today we're back in the studio and next Saturday. And then we'll be back on the 5th because we're having a bit of a refit through here and going to have a brand spanking new studio, so that's going to be exciting to get on that. And we'll be back the 5th of December for our last 3 episodes of 2020. My co-host today, I've got the lovely Paida Mahoa back with us.
Well, hello again. Couldn't keep me away.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. It's nice to be back, and thanks for having me again.
Oh, absolutely. Like, we needed a co-host.
Well, thank you.
So glad you could jump in and get on the mic. So what's been happening around the place for you?
Not much really. I know that I've just been trying to get my head around this time of the year, getting ready for Christmas.
Oh, God.
I know, that weird...
Corona then Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Because it feels like everyone's trying to make up for the fact that from March until possibly like around now, we've like have no idea where the world's going. And then I was like, you know what? Never mind. We'll just make up for it.
Make up for it at Christmas.
Yeah.
I hope there's some blowout, full-on Afrobeat parties right across the Christmas New Year period.
I know there was one. Is it Afro Days does one in Auckland?
Auckland's always got stuff going on.
I've always wanted to go to one of those.
Yeah.
I think they host it on a Friday night. They just do a whole club rent and you go in, and it's always been something that I saw that's been really cool. So I think they've had their last one for the year, so we've missed out, Leah. I think we might have to. Yeah,
and there's also Auntie Rose out in Takanini or Pakuranga. Yeah, she's got her own little set thing on her, Masafinia's Braai.
Oh, right.
She has her own little thing there where they have guest performers, and you get barbecue and braai and boerewors sausage and, you know, the whole bit, you know. Yeah. And I'm keen as mustard to, like, be in Auckland one weekend and just go along, just hang out at her house.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that growth point lifestyle, we call that in Zimbabwe, you know.
Growth point lifestyle, what's that?
You know, it's like these little shops area, like in the villages, they always have like a little shop area where you would go to buy your bread, your essentials. Oh,
we call them dukas in Tanzania.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
But everyone, that's where you go to hang out.
Yeah.
Like on Christmas Day and stuff, that we're playing like music super loud.
Yeah.
And like there's dances. I've only seen it one time when I had my one rural Christmas back in the day.
Right.
But it's like the place to go. Like everyone knows everyone there. If you're ever lost, you know, just pull up on the growth point.
I remember when I was in Tanzania that we had a lot of these dukas, and they put the chairs and tables outside so you could get beer or you could get anything else as well.
There is always a liquor store next door. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And one night, because they had rolling blackouts, like constantly, like
Not
you'd have
blackouts.
And so like basically we have this blackout, and somebody was there with a guitar, and so we just started singing like all these reggae songs and stuff just till the lights came back on.
Make your own party.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. So what's been happening in Wellington? Oh, Africa Day, did you go?
Didn't get a chance this year, but I saw a few things on Instagram that looked awesome. Looked like there was a good turnout. I don't really remember what I was doing that weekend, but I didn't get a chance to do that. But my mum went. She always goes every year just to get some injera.
Oh, really? She likes injera.
From the Ethiopian ladies, every year she goes. So you can always count on herself.
She only has it once a year?
I think that's when she sees the most excess. So if Africa Day is ever gone, she would be heartbroken single-handedly. Because where is she going to get her injera fix?
Oh, tell her I'll hook her up.
Oh, okay, I'll let her know.
I went to the after party. That was pretty good. Okay. One of our guys, Modi, was on stage, and the boy can drum.
Really?
The boy is good. He is so good. So that was really cool, catching that at the after party. So I got there and he was on stage, and it was just mad. Yeah, and, you know, it was just Afrobeats after that. And I just got out of hospital, so I was like lying on the couch, and then my presence was summoned, and I thought, okay.
So you had to go down on the dance floor?
I never get on the dance floor these days. I'm waiting for a new knee.
Putting it out there, anyone can help.
Anybody got a spare knee? I need a new one. Yeah. No, I couldn't. I can't get on the. No, I don't do the dance floor. I used to do the dance floor a lot, but not anymore. But I just chill in a corner with a lot of margaritas.
Oh,
yeah,
good time.
Margaritas and meds goes down really well.
Oh.
I came home and passed out. That's pretty much it.
That will do it. That will do it, if nothing else.
And Labour weekend, we were away. Went to the Zim Soccer Fest over in Taupo. That was pretty cool.
Oh, how were they, my people?
Well, apparently, I think Wellington won.
Oh, okay.
I didn't check.
Big
I'm
up
not
to
sure.
them. We'll just pretend they did. We've been through a lot. Yep, we won. Mm-hmm.
And then there was a after party in Taupo, and I haven't been to Taupo since I was about 5 or 6. Wow. So, we went into Taupo, and we didn't get the memo that it was an all-white party. So,
right, the colour.
Yeah, me and my friend turned up in black, but I was like, well, at least we're all black. Yeah. So, it's all good.
Yeah. Like it. Why not? Just go.
Yeah, we just didn't get that memo. Oh, the African Film Festival's the next thing. It ran here. It's just finished here. And the Blackhouse is now a patron of the African Film Festival.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So you'll see our logo there. And it's going to, if you missed the one in Wellington, the Auckland one is running from the 26th of November to the 6th of December at Rialto Cinemas Newmarket. So I don't know if you're up in Auckland at that time, or if anybody in Auckland can hear us right now. That's where it's going to be. You can go to the Africa Film Festival, AfricanFilmFestivalNewZealand.com, .co.nz, I think.
So.
And you can check out all the films. They've got some really good ones actually this year. And also what Koulibaly, who's the president of the African Film Festival, he often gets people to view the films.
Oh, right.
So I think if people are interested in being, give a review of them when they come in each year.
Yeah.
Give them a call and say if you're interested in viewing the films and that, give them a call and have a chat to them about it.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, because I thought that I would have had I watch a lot of films, but I was doing some other things, and I was really interested in doing that.
Yeah, because I've been a few times to the Wellington one, maybe 2 years in a row. I think this is the 1 year I missed out. For the opening night. So one of my girlfriends, Ira, shout out to you. We always make it a point to go because it's really nice and it's a really well put together event. Yeah. Catering was always sensational. So it's a really good one to support if it's near you. Yeah, and it's
Momona, who we had on the show just before we had 3 weeks off. The one that wrote the book, survived the journey. Yeah. She actually organises it down here.
Oh, awesome.
With Koulibaly down here in Wellington. So if you're ever keen to help out, make sure you drop your name and your number to Momona.
Yeah.
And let her know that you're interested in helping out with the opening night. I don't have dates, but I've said, because now that we're patrons, we've got to push this thing on here. So just let us know, early on, a couple of months, and we'll start promoting it and letting people know, if you want to give Momona a hand, that'll be awesome. And, oh, wow, where are we up to? Hey, the US election.
All right.
Yes!
Girl, I'm just we survived.
It is crazy.
We survived.
The whole thing that's going down right now is so crazy. I mean, what is he going to do? Is he going to stay in the White House the girlfriend that you sacked or the boyfriend that you sacked but just doesn't want to move out? What's happening?
I don't know. He might have to get a little house inside.
He might get dragged out.
We don't know.
I think he's,
My prayers are with America because that's a situation that needs prayer.
Exactly. Yeah, if I prayed, I would say yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, it's with the Lord now. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, it's I just can't believe, apparently this hasn't happened before, or it's only happened once before.
Yeah, something like that. They've
Yeah.
had back in the day. Yeah, they've had similar situations.
But I mean, if people haven't voted for you, man, you gotta
but do you
go.
know, it's the hypocrisy of them comparing it to like, oh, this is turning into a Zimbabwe, or you know, like it was real funny seeing some of them, like the memes coming out of
Yeah.
like election rigging.
Yeah.
I mean, we have our issues, but if you're starting to be in the same bucket, like you need to reconsider this first world thing that they like to, you know, to prop up.
To push.
Yeah, and I'm just like, wow, you know, and I was just like, I don't know to be assaulted or proud. I didn't know what
Yeah.
to take it, but
Yeah.
it's a like I literally said it is with God now. I did not.
Oh no,
I'm not
this
invested.
this soon. Like I worked in the construction industry for ages, like in Australia, and Trump's a construction boss.
Yeah.
None of these guys are straight. You know, like, they're all crooked.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like there's just so much stuff that goes on in the
Yeah.
construction industry,
Yeah.
especially where he's from in New York,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's all about who scratches your back and, you know, like who you know, and if you do me a favor, I'll do you like what did they think they were going to get?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. That's literally why my go-to word is "it is with the Lord," because America is just full of twists and turns, contradictions. I almost would think sometimes I'm scared it's just going to evaporate one day, because I'm just like,
What, the whole country?
yeah,
America.
just drop off the map.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much you can do before the world starts calling back like what is going on.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Like,
You can always do better, people. It's an option. So, like, let's not completely give up. But
No.
you can always do better. But everyone just has to be on board. So
Yeah.
everyone.
I think it's hilarious that the Democrats want Obama to come back and give the sledges.
Wow.
He's really digging in, and Fox News is really upset.
What, the Obama might be coming
No,
back?
because Obama's coming in and saying you know, real shady shit about.
Oh, right, because he can now.
Yeah, 'cause he
because
can.
back in the day, I always thought, how many times does he want to be like, you know what? You know what? The
Yeah.
streets have spoken.
Yeah.
But he had to do the whole intellectual,
Yeah.
way
He's
of
hilarious.
fighting. But Michelle's eyes always gave it away.
Yeah.
And that's why she's one of my idols. Because you could tell that sis was just like, I'm over this. I'm done. You could always see it in her eyes.
Okay, do you want to introduce the first song, Paida?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So this is a bit strange, but
Well, it shouldn't be strange.
well, I did pick it. So so the first track that we have is from Wagwan. It is called Blang, and he's a Wellington artist hailing from Zimbabwe. I really know this because I was around the time of his birth, because he's my brother. So I really know, I can legitimately say that's where he's from, because I was not quite there, but I saw the day he came home, so I can tell you he was born in Zimbabwe. And he's on the forefront of new artists coming out of Wellington, and this is his new song, Blang.
Follow the gram, my black square, then it disappear. Who really care? It isn't fair that you chillin' here, so insincere. I had to shine my light on the road. He know the way you can go where he go. A little love never hurt nobody. A little love never hurt nobody. So I you had to go with the truth. Look at my chick hang low for the go. And my papa tell me what he know. And so I it in blood. Just to get the ice out, now they legalizing the bud. Just so we can pass out. Coconut product, I feel my skin, my environment. Often lost in the sauce, so trying to meet them requirements. Keep it 10 toes deep, a big kill. Keep us in the pistol up on this hill. Ain't no bustin', we trustin' that you can hear. If you waiting to taste it, then bring it here. Because my chain hang low for the go. And my papa tell me what he know. And so I play. What it is, take it slow. You had to pray for the kids when you go.
Hey, and we're back. Paida,
Yes.
take it away.
Wow. That was a good one. Love that. Welcome back to Blackhouse on 106.1 FM with Liya and Paida. I've always wanted to say that. It was one of my dreams. In fact,
To say it on air.
not even that, but just to like go on the radio. Or do you know what I wanted to be when I was little?
What was that?
If you watch just before the news, there used to be this lady called the Food in a Minute. And
Okay.
she was sponsored by Waddies, and she would come in at 5:59 before the news starts.
I vaguely remember her.
And she'll start and she'll like cook a meal in a minute. Obviously, it's not in a minute because you're putting it out in a can, so it's easy.
Yeah.
But I always like one day I want to be that lady on the TV, Food in a Minute. So,
Right.
So I don't know why, but you know, as a kid you make dreams. But this one's is even a more fun dream, hanging out with you, Liya. So.
Oh, thank you.
So getting there, but so I think I sent you through a little video like yesterday, and it was from a really interesting, I think, an Australian segment. I think it's a girl called Rosalie or
Yeah. What was it? Rosalie something.
yeah. So she was an Australian presenter.
Rosaline's Untaming.
Yeah, she's got this new segment that's coming out, and it's on ABC TV in Australia. I
Yeah.
don't think we get access in New Zealand, but we do get a little. I saw a little clip on Instagram, and so it was just basically talking about what it's like to grow up mixed race in Australia, and so. And what really caught me was so it was two ladies having a yarn. One's braiding, so Rosalie's braiding. This other lovely lady, I forget her name. And they were just talking about what it meant for her to grow up in Australia. I think I'm not sure if she's Tanzanian Australian. Oh no, Nigerian Australian.
Yeah.
And so she was just having a chat about what it meant for her to like define her race or her where she's from, and like that journey of being utterly different from, and I think she's mostly raised in her Australian household.
Yeah.
So you do stand out a lot, and so it got me thinking, and I was saying to you that will be a really interesting thing to talk about, because a lot of us coming into the diaspora or moving into coming away from Africa or being born in different parts and having African ancestry, like you go through a kind of an awakening, a journey of like, oh wow, I'm black.
Yeah.
Because
Because it doesn't come up in Africa.
no, because that's the thing. I didn't know I was black until I moved to New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it sounds strange for people who are
And
not
I
in that
didn't know,
world.
I never knew what it was like to feel not black until I went to Africa.
Right. I have the same feeling when I went home.
Yeah.
It was so good to just like blend in for once.
Yeah.
But it was just the whole idea of like how we construct our own identities and how do we like, is it something we grow up being proud of, or is it something that we're ashamed of, or is it that entire journey in itself, that weird wacky world, you know, of identity politics that makes it even more a bit nuanced when you are dealing with ideas of race and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that because race is such a Western conception,
Yeah.
I think the only equivalent in Africa is probably tribalism, but still that's lateral
Yeah.
in a way, you know, like it's more about tribe identity
Yeah.
rather than colour politics, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? But, you know, for me, growing up here, I didn't know I wasn't black.
Yeah.
I mean, my first experience of being othered was before I was even aware of that, and I've got photos of myself playing in a park.
Yeah.
Right, and where my mother apparently found those photographs was in a photography store in Palmerston North.
Oh, wow.
Because I was playing in the park on a swing, and some what you would call a creep was in the park photographing me, and like playing on the swings, and I've got the whole series of the pictures.
Jeez.
And then my mum was walking through Palmerston North, and she saw pictures of me all over this man's wall.
Like, is it a store or was it?
Yeah, it was a photography store.
So he was selling photos of you.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what he was doing with the photographs.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That is...
So I was probably 2 or 3. Like, I was walking.
Yeah.
But I'm a toddler.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I've never not known that I was black. I mean, I was actually quite dark as a young person. A lot of us people who are of mixed parentage, we grow. I don't even like using that term because, as far as I'm concerned, I've never been white. So like I don't actually refer to myself as mixed. Because we grew up with terms like half caste, quarter caste, mulatto, mixed race. But I don't. Those are all, to me, they're terminologies that sort of put you in a place of proximity. Where is your proximity to whiteness? And considering in New Zealand, the most oppressed groups are actually light-skinned people in New Zealand, like Māori and Pacific Islanders, financially, economically, resource-wise, all these other things within the justice system and stuff. There's no light-skin privilege here either. Yeah, exactly. So you get shuffled into this class race sort of situation in New Zealand simply by being a person of colour. Wow. Now, where you fall on that scale of proximity to whiteness really depends. Like, I think that if there was a pyramid, like African people, Māori, Pacific Islanders would probably be in the most working class, even though we've got a few individuals today of middle class backgrounds that are also Māori and also we don't have entire, like Carla said in one of his things, we don't have entire neighbourhoods of just Polynesian middle class people. We don't have entire neighbourhoods of just African people that are middle class, families, So, like, I've never not known that. I guess,
like, because for me, the big thing was when, like, because I came here when I was young, like I was like 9, and you go through that teenage years where you're trying to formulate your identity, you're not trying to figure out who you are. And one of the things is about finding role models and finding like how people don't understand, like everyone's looking for a place where you're like, this is where I fit in, and this is where it's a natural part of being a human being.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone wants to be grouped in something because for some weird reason in our brains, it makes more sense for us to just categorize things instead of just let it be. I don't know if it's just my brain and the Capricorn I am, or
I think that's the way people are. I think my circumstances, because I watched that video and I'm always kind of a little bit different in the way I view things because I didn't actually grow up with my mother.
Oh, right.
I grew up with my grandparents and my grandfather was very good friends with my father. Yeah. So my father was the constant person in my life. His presence was there.
And he's Tanzanian.
Yeah, but he got deported when I was a kid. Yeah. And then when I got sent to my mother's, like everything fell apart. I don't actually have a relationship. Yeah. No, so I was made hyper aware of racism because my mother actually, after having 2 children to 2 African guys, she ended up with a guy who was a white supremacist. Right. So I got really hyper aware to racism at a very young age. Of course. Because we were getting the download from the books that he was reading and stuff like that. And, there was one day I remember really clearly, and I was about 10, and he was talking about people of colour, and I went to the bathroom. Yeah. And looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, but you're talking about me. Yeah, exactly. So, you're not talking about, you may want to pretend you're not talking about me in this house. But you see, as soon as I step outside this door, people don't know that I belong in this house, or this is where I'm from. Yeah. So my awareness of racism and how it plays out and what it looks like came at a very, very young age, probably a lot younger than a lot of people that I know. And basically, most of my teenage years, I spent time trying to figure out how I could articulate what my experience was.
Yeah.
And when the first book that I read was Malcolm X's autobiography.
Whoa.
And that was the first book I read cover to cover.
Yeah.
And I was just,
I see myself now. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like he's actually, the words that are coming out of his mouth are the words I've been searching for in my ear.
It's funny that you say that we look for identity in like literature and things like that. Because for me, I had a really lovely librarian when I was in high school. I forgot her name, but bless her heart. So every time they ever got any books that had any, African context in it, she would tell me about it and get me to read it, or like if I'm interested. So for all my high school, all my teenage years, kind of like I would collect literature, pictures, anything that you would see that would, could resonate with like, someone that looks like me. So like, probably all black girls who grew up, in the 2000s in New Zealand, you all read Desert Flower, and even, so for us, so it didn't matter that it was the context of like what country that person of, didn't matter. It was just because they were black and I can identify with that. Right. And so like for me, I remember when I was really young and my dad found a newspaper clipping of Condoleezza Rice.
Right.
So she was like one of George Bush's advisors. Like when I think about like the technical theology of what that represented, it was not something I would personally sign up for, just the George Bush administration. But for my dad, he was, he recognized that there was that need in me to feel like I can do, like I see myself in things and what I can model my life. Because if I turn on TV, no one looked like me and I can't have a modeling of understanding of what I can do in the world. I see my parents and they're doing, at that time they're trying to build for themselves and things like that. And so you don't have a lot of influence, around you to help you figure out. Because I knew that this is not where I was from, because I remember moving from Zimbabwe to here. Yeah. So I knew it's like that whole belonging thing.
Have you noticed in the media too, in media advertisements, every time they have a man of colour, whether he's Māori, Pacific Islander or African man, they always have a white partner? Have you noticed that?
I don't go looking for it because it'll probably piss me off. No, because it's great. We're making steps. We're making steps and I love it. And I hope, by the time I die, it'll be a bit more balanced, because it's only a reflection of what the world looks like. Yeah. I always say to people, I
would like to see more reflections of black love.
Exactly.
That's what I want to see.
There's actually a series I watch, if you can watch it on YouTube, called Black Love. So that's quite interesting. But it's American. So everything. So, and another thing about where we'd get our identity from was what we saw as blackness, which was American. So I got into rap music, hip hop music real early, because I felt like, these people look like me. There's a freedom.
I was here when hip hop landed in New Zealand.
My God.
And
tell me.
It was mad. Like, up until then we had disco music, and then rap came out.
Right.
And I was at Avondale College, and that was the opening of the John Waititi Marae.
Wow.
And we were serving the food for all the people that were there, the third formers from Avondale College. And Delvanius was the DJ, and he was a very famous Māori DJ from back in the day. And he just dropped this track. Which one was it? I think it was Rapper's Delight. And all of us just started screaming, because it was like, this is really different. Yeah. Like, what is this? And you don't have to have, melody. Yeah. You can just yell this stuff.
Yeah. See, you probably grew up on things that people are like, yeah, that's the real stuff. NWA, I remember. Whereas for me, Lil Wayne, Lollipop is not the equivalent. And Bow Wow is not the equivalent of how you get, so that generational difference, but it still mattered that and you know what? I did notice when I was in high school, there was a lot of of black media in New Zealand. Maybe because I had
there was.
I had MTV.
Back in the 70s, this is what I was going to say. Like, growing up, I'd go to school, I'd get in fights. I was fighting in school from probably age 5.
Oh, gosh.
No, probably
Kindergarten
4.
was hard.
Kindergarten was rough. I was a real tomboy. I liked playing with the trucks. I remember clearly being, the boys at kindy kicking me out of the sandpit and not letting me play with the trucks, right?
Wow.
So I get on my tricycle on a weekend when kindy's shut.
Yeah.
And I trike across Palmerston North by myself.
Were they looking for you?
I triked back.
You were looking for them.
But,
those little boys.
I was going to get in that sandpit and play with the trucks I wanted to play with. But, just going through, but in the 70s, I'm talking like the early 70s, but in the early 70s, we did have a lot of
black media.
We had a lot of sitcoms. We had Happy Days. We had That's My Mama. We had all of these things. We didn't have the Jeffersons, though.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the Jeffersons were like really in your face.
Yeah. Because I do remember I would see Cosby. I saw Cosby.
He came in the 80s. Yeah.
I saw Fresh Prince of Bel-Air because I came in New Zealand like 2003. So
we had more in the 70s.
Yeah, and they had Diddy making the band. I'm not saying that was like the best thing that's been made on TV, but I remember watching that.
Yeah.
And I remember watching The Game, and we had like a few BET shows, but only if you had Sky. But that was our babysitter.
This was free to air. This was free to air TV. And when I used to come home from school after fighting everybody, Pickles and all these other kids, Bartlett and all these other ones that nigga.
Wow.
I'm gonna say the N-word. Sorry, but that's what they call me. And basically, I'd come home and turn on the TV, and to me, in my head, I would always be thinking that my people are
That's
in here.
Your family, yeah.
In there, yeah. So I never was not aware of that I was a black kid.
Yeah.
Like, I was never not aware that I never got into that thing of actually thinking I was American. I never did that.
I think my mom would have slapped that out of me.
But I knew that I was black.
Yeah.
And I just happened to be a black person that was here. And I was usually the only one in the town, in the district,
wherever you
in
lived.
the school.
Yeah. Whereas I was lucky because by the time we moved here, even when I lived in Invercargill, it had a bit of diversity at the time. Don't look down upon it. I remember a few families had moved from Zimbabwe and were working on the dairy farm. So our parents made it a point. A lot of my childhood, especially when we lived in Christchurch as well, was hanging out with other families and other Zimbabwean families, other African families, but mostly Zimbabweans, and having that around us. And that was such a really good fun part of my childhood, because there's a certain freedom that you have when you don't have to explain yourself. So, and I know people get real itchy about literally makes you itch about race, politics, but it is a social construct that other people just chuck on you, and then and they pull it out when it's convenient.
When it's convenient.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important to talk about it.
Yeah.
You can't fix a thing if you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to get into it, get into the nuts and bolts of it, and really dissect it. And I think I've spent most of my teenage years, my 20s, trying to dissect what is this thing I'm dealing with all the time.
And I think for me, and a big thing about why I applaud Julia, and I'll say it give people their roses while they're here. With the Blackhouse and things, it's everything is usually a fight to get your opportunity. And I never knew that you were allowed, because a lot of things is about having permission, feeling permission, because you're a minority, to express yourself, because it's like you're being weird or whatever, or you're supposed to try to fit in the norm. But I stand out too much, whatever. And having the Blackhouse, I just never thought that you could just be blatantly being like, I want to promote things to do with the African community and African music. And I didn't know how important that space was until you see it. Like I always say to you, you pioneer before people recognize it's hot. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it's in making a space for people. I didn't know how much it was needed until you actually see it. You know what I mean? You didn't. It's like, when Obama was made president, president. Not saying that I want to be a president in America, but you didn't know that was a concept to be someone of African descent to lead a country that it's majority white. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And so it's like that whole identity thing and fighting and you saying, affirming, hey, it's actually, we need to talk about these things.
Yeah. I think also, like, you know, growing up here, I think as a person that's actually growing up here and being born in the 60s, you know, like, I'm really dying to meet somebody who's born close to my age and have been here for the amount of time like I've been here. And you know, I've got a few friends that are a bit younger than me, but you know, I'd actually love to meet somebody older than me. The oldest, but the longest person I know that's here currently, that's been here the longest, actually came here the same year I was born.
And are they like African?
They're African, yeah. But then he had to go back home because of the policy, and then he came back with his wife. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, but the first time he arrived was the year that I was born. So even though I think he's probably
older
in his 70s and 80s, we both turned up here at the same time. So so it's kind of, and I'd like to meet people that have been here longer than like the year that I appeared.
And for me, and for me, it's like the stories that you tell, I would have had no idea because I thought, like, if it was in my brain, only like African people started arriving in the 2000s. But then you're like, girl, no, you know. And it's like those stories are things that are important to tell because it helps you, you know, have somewhere to land. Really,
I think also too, it's about contextualizing your existence in this space, right? Yeah. Because, you know, there's a lot of sort of, we look to America, we look to UK, we look to all these places, but we also have to be able to look right here and be able to invest and build because not everybody is going to be going back to Africa. Yeah. You know?
And why should you if you want to? Because you're legally allowed to be here or whatever. Don't get me started.
So like some of us will be staying here, some may go to Australia, anywhere in the world. Like the world's your basket right now. Yeah. And, you know, like we do have to take that time to invest in future generations. So, you know, I think for me, I've always thought I'd never want somebody to go through what I've gone through in my life. Yeah. I mean, I've been raising myself since I was 14. Yeah. And not many young African people I met have left home at 14.
Yeah, no, usually
to look after themselves.
Yeah.
And also at a time when there was very, very, well, they were invisible. If there were other black people here, I know apparently, you know, on the New Zealand census in 1976, there was 3 Negroes in Auckland. And I know one was me and my sister. I don't know who the other poor fellow was, but he was somewhere out there.
If you hear this, please get in touch.
Please get in touch.
We're looking for you. You never know. We're looking for you. Oh.
Yeah, so anyway, let's go to the next song, eh?
Yeah, let's...
What do we have there?
Right. Is it More Muse?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, love it. Psycho Yusuf and More Muse featuring Psycho Yusuf is an Auckland-based artist of Somalian descent, and this is their melodic hip-hop song, Pearly Gates.
I've been trying to run these bills up. Tell me why I feel stuck. Hope these feelings don't last, cut these fake niggas off like nip tuck. Dreams of a biz truck, cruising down the city, give a fuck where we end up. Hope it ain't an early grave, I ain't ready for no pearly gaze. I remember all them early days and late nights, always working late, waiting for the coffee to percolate. And now we pop perks just to cope with pain. Bad little shorty and I hope she game. Can't be mad at the storm when you hope for rain. On the road to riches, it's a rough terrain. Overdrive, hold a clutch and bang, and run amok with my troops. Give a fuck about a truce, and that goes for you and your butt-fuck crew. Every time we see him, it's duck, duck, goose. Guess it's no luck when your luck's cut loose, yeah. Rendezvous with my committee. Those my brothers like we shared the same titty. How you beefing with me? We ain't in the same city. Bad boy, but my name ain't Diddy. Fuck the game up, son, like Fitty. East side nigga, but they know me in the north like Drizzy. Angel or Death on speed dial if they wanna try it with me, but they always tend to fold, so I call them 350. Please, let me get my shit off. Choking on your gimmick, trying to swallow what you bit off. Riding with the lid off. Hardest up and coming rapper in the game. Label niggas having bit offs. I sit off. I've been trying to run these bills up. Tell me why I feel stuck. Hope these feelings don't last, cause these fake niggas off like lip tuck. Dreams of a Benz truck. Cruising down the city, give a fuck where we end up. Hope it ain't an early grave. I ain't ready for no birdie gaze. Love with a fill cup. I've been trying to run these bills up. Tell me why I feel stuck. Hope these feelings don't last, cause these fake niggas off like lip tuck. Dreams of a Benz truck. Cruising down the city, give a fuck where we end up. Hope it ain't an early grave. I ain't ready for no birdie gaze.
I think it's time I strapped out. They try to cut me out, they offer me a handout. Got it on my feet, I kept it waiting with my hands out. I was in the band popping pills till I passed out. Living in the trap house, make you wanna tap out. Legend in the hood, I'm the one they always ask about. Looking back, all I do is laugh now. No more tears, haters kiss my ass now. Game plan, they ask you about my game plan. I stay quiet, see your lies through my rave band. What you know about a soul full of pain, man. Long nights in the bando like a caveman. Man, you won't feel my pain. Don't compare our stories, we ain't built the same. I was raised in the trenches, I don't gotta explain. Lost some brothers to these streets, I don't gotta say names.
Better with a feel cut. I've been trying to run these bills up. Tell me why I feel stuck. Hope these feelings don't last, cause these fake niggas off like lip tuck. Dreams of a Benz truck. Cruising down the city, give a fuck where we end up. Hope it ain't an early grave. I ain't ready for no birdie gaze. Love with a fill cup. I've been trying to run these bills up. Tell me why I feel stuck. Hope these feelings don't last, cause these fake niggas off like lip tuck. Dreams of a Benz truck. Cruising down the city, give a fuck where we end up. Hope it ain't an early grave. I ain't ready for no birdie gaze.
Blackhouse on 106.1 FM. We're just going to do some shout outs now. Let me put on these my horn rim glasses here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, we got tonight, it's a Goodbye Mercury in Retrograde party hosted by Tino Munda Saziba and Jess O'Neill. It's going to be from 8 to 4 p.m. $5 entry. You just got to email partywagwan@gmail.com, and Wagwan's spelled WAGUAN, or at Wagwan Party. That's WAGUAN Party. On Instagram to buy tickets, you provide your full number. Yeah, $5 entry.
Yeah,
Yep.
18 plus.
18. Oh, it's 18 plus. Yeah, none of you 16-year-olds, you can all stay home. You know who I'm talking to because I catch you sometimes in town. Provide your full name, your phone number, and send the correct amount to the bank account supplied on the event page. I won't read out the bank account on air.
You'll find it.
Yeah, just go to the event page. It's Goodbye Mercury in Retrograde Party, and the mystery location. I'm assuming you get the location once you bought that ticket.
Yeah, we would hope so.
We know it's in Newtown. We might find you.
Oh, you gave it away.
Wow, Newtown's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd have to scour a few streets to find it. All right, do you want to do the next one?
Yeah, so Black and Gold end of year Afrobeats party. So that's coming up on the 20th of November. It's from 7 p.m. till midnight. So it's at the Office Bar, Rutherford Street in Newtown. Once again, $5 entry. So no, it's a good one. It's a cheap date. So it's hosted by Rebecca Williams. It's a farewell party for her.
Yeah.
And DJ Dozen will be on the decks and featuring lots of Afrobeats, dancehall, and soca music.
That sounds really good. I haven't heard soccer music for a while.
Oh, is it Caribbean, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that ting-a-ling-a-ling, that musical type of stuff.
And the dress code is black and gold, nibbles provided. Wow. Cheap drinks, and yeah, so come all black.
All black and gold.
Black and gold. Or do both. Do both. It's good accessorizing options there.
Gold makeup even.
Yeah.
Black
wow.
dress. I can do the black, no problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
You were ready. You were ready for the party in Taupo, but you didn't know it was for the party coming up in the future. So you were just dressed for the future.
Yeah, I was ready.
So this is an early evening event, so you all have to be on time. So I'm not pointing any people or countries or nationalities, but I'll just say there's some people where, so 7 p.m.
Yeah,
7
no Swahili time. No Swahili time.
Wow. So it's an early evening event, so you all have to be on time to move on to other parts of the city. We'll make a whole night of it. Newtown stays open until 2 a.m., so there's always somewhere else to go. And yeah.
Okay, well, the next one is just at Newtown Community Centre on 6:30 to 9:30 Thursdays. If you went to the Africa Day and the Africa Party, you would have seen Modi drumming and dancing and doing his thing. Well, he's down there 6:30 to 9:30 Thursdays. So if you want to join him or join in learning and drumming and dancing, go check him out down there at the Newtown Community Centre. It's right in the middle of Newtown. So yeah, most people, ask anybody if you get to Newtown what street it is, because I can't think of the name of the street right now.
You'll find it. Ask your neighbour.
And lastly, we've got Masbo Q's Icon Status Tour is going to be playing at Moon Rutherford Street on Friday, the 11th of December. Tickets are online from Banish Music. They're $20. Now, he came to the Newtown Festival. His set was on point. He's so high energy. He's an Auckland-based Nigerian rapper and producer, formerly known as Unchained XL, socially conscious rapper, one of the organisers of the Auckland BLM protest on June 1st, which attracted more than 20,000 people. He's been solid from the beginning, talking about social issues. He's passionate about what he writes into his lyrics. And this show will definitely be trademark, in your face, high energy. So I hope the community gets out and supports, our artists coming to town, because they can't tour overseas, guys.
Yeah.
We got to get in there and support, and especially other black artists in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I think we got to get real about that. I would love to see more of the Auckland crews coming down to Wellington for our African Day.
Come and visit.
Yeah, just come more often.
Yeah.
We need more stuff here. Oracle. Yeah, come back, Oracle. We love you, Oracle.
And is the Moon on Rutherford Street, is that in Newtown as well?
Yeah, that's in Newtown.
Newtown is the place to go.
Yeah, Newtown is pumping.
Yeah. If you're in Newtown, big up yourself.
Yeah. Oh, and we've had Quaylen Mathley here as well.
Wow.
And his set at the Newtown Festival is really good. I'm sure, I don't know what's happening for next year for Newtown Festival, but I'm hearing that people are kind of preparing. I think this whole corona, I don't know what the story is with the corona thing, but I know they should be preparing for it right now. So if you're wanting to get into the Newtown Festival, look that up online and contact them and send in your deets and what have you, if they're taking all of that now. Hey? Come with a press kit. Yeah. Come with a press
professional.
Kit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's promote that. You know, don't sell yourself short by being amateur. Come on.
So that's one of the festivals. I love the Newtown Festival. Yeah. Have you been?
You know what? Being from the heart, I hate to say it, but it sometimes feels like you're traveling to another country.
It's like that, eh? Yeah. It's like the heart is like a whole other city now.
It is. It is a whole other city, especially where the bits I'm from. And so it is just. But I'll make it a point. So it hasn't happened yet, right?
No, it normally happens at the beginning of March, but we'd have to check. People would have to just get online and check what's going on.
Okay, but no, now I know I'm being held accountable. I need to show up Newtown Festival.
Yeah, and if you got to be in it to win it, like Lotto.
Maybe don't make us host it. I'm just joking.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
No, imagine.
What do you reckon?
Hi, no.
We got to pick a stage.
No.
So let's go back to what we were talking before, because you were going on about. We've got a few minutes left.
Yeah.
We got till about 5 more minutes. Yeah, we got about 5 more minutes.
So my big thing about why I was, I brought up the topic was, first of all, I'm really proud of the fact that now it's a lot easier for me to find media to consume that I can easily identify with. Yep. I remember when I read Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Ooh.
Oh, that's a big name.
And she's Nigerian, but for the first time she was writing about what it means to be a child who was not born in the country, you're born in the country of your birth in Nigeria, Zimbabwe, whatever, and then you move into another, Western metropolitan city, and that whole idea of the third culture kid and just the journey of trying to figure out the migration journey is a lot harder and more traumatic than people think.
Yeah.
And, people ask why does it always have to turn into race thing?
Because that's what you deal with every day. It's woven into capitalism.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just forms of how people get power. If you have a problem with it, you know, so make sure that it's not a problem, you know, look out for your homies.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that, you know, the freedom that you get from being able to fully express yourself. I remember one time in high school, so I was lucky, I went to a high school that, you know, all the African parents like to send their daughters to a Catholic school, so we were all there at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, and we would be at lunchtime, and for some reason we don't know how to talk one after the other, so we all talk at the same time, so it makes quite a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And, you know, the cackle, it's not just the cackle of the South Pacific, it's all the way from Africa. And the teachers came out panicking, like, girls, what's going on? Like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, no, we're fine, we're just laughing. But you know, and it's just the idea of like people finding their space and finding, you know, like where they blend in. And I love how you were saying it's like not all of us are gonna go back or find somewhere else. What's wrong with making a place to where, you know, make this where we belong? You know, it has its own issues and things that we need to work out, especially when it comes to the dynamics of, you know, tangata whenua. It's not something we should brush off because of the, you know, we are here because of them.
Yeah.
And so it's but that idea of being okay in finding your own space and finding your own home and in your identity,
it's important to belonging. And another thing I think like about New Zealand is that we're a country that celebrates cultures and people of colour. You've got all these cultures and things around you, and then when you've been divorced from that by environment and you're surrounded by other people that can celebrate it, and you're kind of left, well, where do I go? Yeah. And that was always a part of like my upbringing.
Yeah.
And so I got into like, you know, some days I'd be hanging out with the Fijians and other days I'd be it was always like it was always the darker islanders.
Wow.
The Melanesians.
Well, it just looked more applicable to your experience. Yeah,
you look kind of like...
Yeah,
like,
so the amount of times I've been like confused as someone from being from Vanuatu. You know, I don't know how the word was made, but we look pretty close.
Yeah, and like Fiji's got this mythology of, going back to Tanzania.
But Fijians are Africans.
Yeah.
My dad told me.
Yeah, like, well... Some people say it's mythology and some people say it's facts. But, you know, the first people that ever sort of guessed my actual identity outright were a group of Fijians. They said, "Are you Fijian?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Oh, you're Tanzanian then." I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, so specific. Like, they didn't even go South African first.
Yeah, far out.
South African, then African, and then what are the other countries?
I don't know, because they just okay. But like I was saying, the big thing was having an opportunity to say this. And, you know, and I love the Blackhouse and what you guys are standing for and coming in and being a part of it. Because you're making a space. You're making it for once in our life. We can just listen and hear it, you know, and and let the world be like that for everybody.
Hey, and you don't have to dance for me either. You can just do it. We can just talk.
No, and you know how hard it is to be a black girl who can't dance. Anyway, that's a different topic for a different day. But yeah, so the main thing was about that journey of, obviously you've been through it, you know, way ahead of me, so you're pioneering that road, and then, you know, pushing to make a space where we can celebrate our music, our spaces, our everything like that. And it's important. Everyone, you know, you shouldn't have to hide away who you are. No. You know, and its identity is nothing that is not new, you know? So, you know, Irish people, other people, Scottish, you know, they all look up and, you know, race for it for themselves. So, you know, if you're a young African person growing up now, you know, don't be afraid to hone in and find your own way of what it means to be black for you, or what it means to have your own identity, and it's okay. And
that's the kaupapa of the show, actually, is that we want to hear your voices. Yeah. You don't have to be...
We're not the same as well.
You don't have to be rich, baby. Yeah. Like, you don't have to be a star. You know, you don't have to be any... You can just be... You just want to get in here and talk about something. Let's just come in here and talk about it.
How about we get someone younger than me?
Oh.
My gosh, you see the difference. Yeah. Because I'm like, oh, these kids these days. But anyway, you know, it's about being okay to discover the journey of this is how I own myself. And this is what my blackness is to me. Because we're not all one, you know, that word I can't say, whatever.
Monolithic.
Yeah, so it's not all one book, you know. So your way, your version of how you do it. You're the one who can't dance, or the one who doesn't like Afrobeats. Oh, but you know, that's a bit.
That's harsh.
Yeah, I've met them. That's anyway. But you're finding your own way and you're defining yourself, and we're just saying that's okay.
All
That's
right.
it.
So we're going to close out today. Thank you so much for coming in, Paida. I want you to come back. I think that we got something going here, girl.
Girl.
And we're going to close out this evening with the last track. Yep, Gino October. And he's an Auckland-based African artist whose background is from South Africa, and he's doing a track called TMD TMN. It's a remix featuring Kobe D. And we'll see you next week.
Yay. Or 3 weeks.
Until I see you, I can't wait. Getting flashbacks to them better days. I don't know why y'all connection died, but it's weighing on me like dead weight. It kills me when I see a picture of your face with half of my features, but I can't reach you. Some nights I go to sleep hoping I don't wake, and it's that deep and I can't sleep. Completely lost in a dark place. I'm wishing that me and your mama could work out our drama in the worst way. I'm afraid of all the drama, all of this caused you. I'll be the first to say that I'm sorry for these rough times. I just want you to know I tried to spend too many days, too many nights since I seen you. Ever since you've been gone, I've been on memory lane, thinking about things that we've been through. I really miss you, and I wish that I could tell you it's been too many days, too many nights, drowning with my sorrows just to feel alive. It's just me, myself, and I, and we've been in a fight. There's no more tears to cry, just wish that you were right.
I tried to do the best I can. I became a dad before a man. Never had a father there so he could teach me this, so I grew up without a plan. I made mistakes when you was born, I can't forget about it. I signed myself up to that rehab, was a man about it. I do my best to make you proud, keep you sheltered from that crowd. If there's problems, I'ma fix it, don't you ever have a doubt. You could put your trust in me, always here just where you see. Things don't go the way we want them, I just how they're supposed to be. I try hard to see you more, things don't go just how I plan. So much more to all this, I just hope one day you'll understand. Still I'm here whenever you need me, please don't ever feel you're alone. Yeah, we live apart and you kinda far, but I'ma always pick up that phone.
Too many days, too many nights since I seen you. Ever since you've been gone, I've been on memory lane, thinking about things that we've been through. I really miss you, and I wish that I could tell you it's been too many days, too many nights, drowning with my sorrows just to feel alive. It's just me, myself, and I, and we've been in a fight. There's no more tears to cry, just wish that you were right. Too many days, too many nights, too many sons, too many daughters without their mother or father. I wonder if anyone bothered telling them that it's not their fault that their parents' relationship faltered. It's apparent this happens often. One time for the words often. My force is much bigger than I first thought it. Too big for me to even try on. I wanna speak the words that you rely on, like you can cry on my songs. So it's here with open arms. Want you to do better than I did. Want you to do better than we did. Cause it's been too many days, too many nights since I seen you. Ever since you've been gone, I've been on memory lane, thinking about things that we've been through. I really miss you, and I wish that I could tell you it's been too many days, too many nights, drowning with my sorrows just to feel alive. It's just me, myself, and I, and we've been in a fight. There's no more tears to cry, just wish that you.
That program was brought to you by Wellington Access Radio. Get your voice heard.
Thanks New Zealand On Air for funding accessmedia.nz.